So what we're going to do here is a new segment called
Are They Top 10?
Are They Top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Dante are essentially week to week, each going to bring a name to put into the list. Once we fill the list up with 10 names, every week after that, we will bring one name each or cycle out. Maybe Dante does 1 week and I do the next.
Yeah.
And before really viral was a thing.
Exactly. He was the first viral guy.
He was the first viral comic.
Song bong. Oh, you're this top song bong by night. You know, like, bruh.
Quick.
Yeah. Off the heezy.
I was quoting Bernie.
Yeah.
Like my entire life, I've been quoting Bernie Mac. Especially back then, comedians were looked at as you were a goofy dork. There weren't too many legit cool comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into a new segment. Keeping in line with the comedy stuff, we had such good engagement on that poll question last week about is Dave Chappelle top 10 without including Chappelle's show, which to me he was, and obviously to Dante he was. But it got a really good conversation going within the podcast and then within the community. So we want to try and keep that going, specifically with comedy. So what we're going to do here is a new segment called
Are They Top 10?
Are They Top 10, ladies and gentlemen? Are They Top 10? And what me and Dante will do every week is bring a new comedian's name to the table and debate whether or not they belong in the top 10 list that we will start to build out this week. So right now, the top 10 list is starting out empty, okay? Me and Dante are essentially week to week, each going to bring a name to put into the list. Once we fill the list up with 10 names, every week after that, we will bring one name each or cycle out. Maybe Dante does 1 week and I do the next.
Yeah.
And we say, okay, this person belongs in the top 10 and they push out this person and then we debate why. It'll also get interesting because there will obviously be times where one of us brings up a comedian where the other one doesn't know. So as we progress through this thing, we will figure out how we come to these conclusions. We'll have to bring evidence. If we're trying to knock comedians out of a top 10 list, we'll have to bring evidence. So that'll either be a clip or something historic, monumental that comedian has done that cannot be denied.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that will start to come into play because we will get to a point where both of us have mentioned all the top guys. Like, obviously, we're going to start out with Chappelle's and friggin' these guys and these guys and these guys and these ladies. But as we go week to week, and it'll start to get more interesting and the conversation will get dicier. And we'll bring that debate style to the community tab and the Instagram story feed every week. So we'll be doing the poll questions every Monday as normal on the community tab and on the story feed of my Instagram. But we'll also be throwing these questions in, like who of the people that we added that week, did we make the right decision?
Yeah.
Did they deserve to bump out this person?
Do you
or whatever?
agree or disagree?
Exactly.
And why?
Correct. So yeah, obviously right now we're starting with an empty list. So we'll each bring a name to the table for the next 5 weeks.
Yep.
Then we'll build out the list of top 10. And then from there, it's battle.
Exactly.
You go first. You bring one name right now.
So the name that I want to put in, for me, he's one of my all-time favorites. A lot of the stuff that I do is inspired by him.
Okay.
And that would be Russell Peters.
Russell Peters.
I'm submitting him into the top 10.
Okay. We should build out a list, by the way. You want to start a Google Doc or something?
I'll put it in the notes and then we'll...
Okay. And then we'll build it out properly.
Yeah.
Russell Peters, have no qualms about that. I'm absolutely okay with Russ being in the top 10 list of all-time great comics. Yeah, what are some of the reasons why I guess you would pick him?
Just, how do I put it? He's got iconic moments, iconic bits, some of the highest level of iconic bits.
And before really viral was a thing.
Exactly. He was the first viral guy.
He was the first viral comic.
You know?
Yeah.
And like... So,
before it felt trashy to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Before you didn't want to be viral.
It was an actual accomplishment back then.
Yeah.
But
like, he's... For me, like, he was one of the guys that, like... The way his jokes were so quick. His response to the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, what's your name? My name's Tap Song Bong. Oh, you're this Tap Song Bong by night. You know, like, bruh.
Quick.
Yeah. Off the heezy.
Yeah.
You know? And then also him being able to connect to all the different cultures, knowing the ins and outs, the actual dialect. How does a Jamaican actually talk? How does a Trinidadian talk? How does the guy from South Africa talk? Like
brother,
like what I mean.
But there's that little friggin'. I think of who's that Neil Blomkamp. I always think of District 9.
Yes.
Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, no, I'm over it.
It's hard. It's a hard one to get, but he can hit it
because it's not Australian, but that's like the base. You start with an Australian base, but it's like a higher pace.
It's kind of because it's still like Afrikaans-ish. Like they still have that little twang in there. But Russell, he somehow knows all these different things. He knows the language. And for that reason, I'm submitting him into the top 10.
All right. Russell is in the top 10 as of right now. The first name into the top 10 list. Yeah. We're not putting these in any specific order, yeah?
This right is now, he's number 1.
Well, technically, I guess. He's the only one.
He's number 10.
That's hilarious. Yeah, and would that also be your number 1 comic, though, of all time?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I feel like to you specifically, that is. Because we've had this conversation about Russ before.
Yeah, I think for me, he's probably number 1 all time. Because like he was the one that I was like studying a lot.
Interesting. When you were like young and just watching
it, I would just put it on and just listen to it, fall asleep, literally trying to just get it into my subconscious.
That's so funny. Somebody gonna get
like, and then you would like go to school the next day and you would like know the bits.
Yeah.
And then there's like, oh, like how many Russell bits do you remember? And then we'd like go back and forth. Like it was actually like one of those things.
Fair enough. I'm gonna do something. This might actually help our case in the future once we have the full list of 10. Mm-hmm. But I'm obviously, if you've been watching the podcast and stuff, you know I rotate out the picture of the 5 guys that kind of make up my style and personality throughout my life. Mm-hmm. They always cycle out on the wall here. So my first will be Bernie Mac simply because he is on the wall in this episode. Mm-hmm. But it's not in any particular order. But someone like when I get to like Andy Kaufman or something, I feel like for me, he's personally up there. Well, that'll be someone that could probably get bumped out in an argument.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyone can get bumped out.
Because then it's on to me to make the case, right? To make the case for Andy Kaufman and what. So not everybody knows Kaufman, like comedy aficionados do and stuff, but it's like, that's what I'm starting to think, like it'll be interesting to get there. Mm-hmm. But Bernie Mac is my first, my first for the top 10 list. I think even one of the first, Eddie Griffin was probably my first like real comedy, like, bing. But Bernie was probably the first like realest, dopest. I was quoting Bernie. Yeah. Like my entire life, I've been quoting Bernie Mac. Before Chappelle quotes and stuff, I would say more of an impact. I was going to say like someone like Martin first, but I would say Bernie had, for me, just a fucking damn, but more of a punch. He had more of that just hard edge style, which is something that clearly you watch me now and you don't understand. Yeah, I just adore Bernie Mac, man. Like everything about him. Anybody from around that era will say he was the number 1. So I feel like this isn't even like a debatable one, really, for comedy fans. Mm-hmm. But there might be a time where we have to question, is Bernie in this list compared to whoever else?
Yeah.
Given his entire catalog and legacy, you know what's even crazier is that he built such a legacy through comedy, but all he really has is the original Kings of Comedy. I have seen all the material. There's actually like him practicing that set. So there's a few of those hour-long sets out there. What I haven't seen, because I don't have a Sirius XM subscription, is they released the Lost Tapes, Bernie Mac, the Lost Tapes, and it's a whole essentially album he did like back in his room in Chicago. Kevin Hart packaged this and released it through like LOL Productions and stuff. I really have to track that down. The Bernie Mac show, obviously. Anything this guy ever did, he was just cool and funny.
Yeah.
Bruh. Especially back then, comedians were looked at as you were a goofy dork. There weren't too many legit cool comics.
Yeah.
Like Dice Clay in his day. But I would absolutely say Bernie was one of the most like
the coolest,
bro. The coolest, but one of the funniest.
Yep.
And effortlessly funny and cool at the same time. It's not like Bernie was trying to be, it was just who he was.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like you can go look up on the channel right now. We have a whole like segment about Bernie Mac where we pulled up clips and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The Transformers, Bobby Bolivia, baby.
Yeah.
I almost said Bobby Boucher.
Uncle Bobby Bolivia, baby.
Uncle Bobby B, baby. Uncle Bobby B.
Yeah. For me, that's why he's in as well, just because he's in Transformers.
That scene though, where he's talking, oh, that's my mammy.
That's my man.
I say that, hey mammy. No, you find a rock, I'll bust you upside the head, bitch. R.I.P. Bernie Mac, man. I love you and the impact you had on so many comedians and just the industry in general. A dude with integrity that made it.
Yep.
And maybe that's the conspiracy land why he died. Who knows? But yeah. So that's my first entry into the top 10. Yours is Russell Peters. So as of right now, the Are They Top 10 list consists of Russell Peters and Bernie Mac. And next week we will introduce 2 new names, and then we will continue to do so until we fill up the 10. And then we will start the debate who stays in the 10 and who gets cycled out. Yeah, that is that.
This is Black Zeus, the podcast season 5.
I love y'all. Thank you for supporting. Once again, the Patreon is launched. If you do want to watch my comedy special right now, you can do so. It's only $10 and you can get it as part of the subscription fee. So like if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get it that way, or you can just buy it outright for $10 that way. Once again, for transparency, I will release the comedy special for free on the YouTube once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So you can also just hit the subscriber button and just do that. You can support that way, whichever way you want to support. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that. I don't necessarily use it the way everybody else does, but I'm there if you want to find me. AKA Black Zeus is the person to find on those platforms.